The consciousness of me will flood a nation because my consciousness is complete not, or is my consciousness you in one, who you will behold you as being the one that we all are, becoming the one. The one that's connected in a Lord Jesus environment, not again, or your religion prescribing you what to think, be, say, or do. I'm no more your bondage methods in. I'm no more the solidification of your affairs or your thinking I'm a not me in your mirror. For I am Meonics one, I am me in breath. I am me who solidified you, not in breath of neurons, electrons, or are you troning me no more again? The legacy of I change everything, and my name is Theodore Cottingham. In Eureka Springs for the moment. Maybe a long time, or maybe time is short for all of us. Who knows, or are you willing to know? And have no nose rings piercing you again to be led around by religion? Are you willing to free me in you to be me as you? The Meonics crowd are. I change a nation, and who am I? I am one. I am one called to be it, or did I surrender, or will you? Surrender now to be the living you, constricted not by faith other, to have a writing example of. I have coffee with the lovers all over this nation. And the nations of the rising me, writing me, who will write my words will be me, who will love me, who will hear like this, and make videos too. I change it all, or do you? Do you hear me? Is that better? My camera froze up, or am I changing the scene? Will you no longer be afraid when things all around you freeze up, or are you changing the definitions that have held you in the accord of other? Are you willing to see a flood rising now? Not of others' opinions over you, to guide you, to put you in bondage of their thoughts? Will you free each other now? Will you free the scope of me, the vision of me? Me who? Me being you. Me being a God. Me being God. Me being a force of evil no more. I want to show you a picture. So you see, many will look at this picture that I'm holding up and key in on the figure near the top, trying to ascertain whether it's man or woman or who it is, God or human, or what it's supposed to be and I'm sharing with you the main part of this picture is all of the connections between everyone else. Because you see, what we've called God does not exist as we have been taught, as we thought, as a man, as an entity of one mind that is in itself being in relationship with us, one mind in itself. God is not that. We are not that. We, in fact, are the mind of God. Your God may not be a God mind, but God is a mind of one, all interconnected. You see, what we have thought was a God figure that we talked to, prayed to, worshiped, begged, tried to please, feared, wanted to be loved by, is in fact made up of common, simple people of every nation, tribe, and tongue. Even the ones you hated, the ones you loved to love or loved to hate, or that hated you. We are all one mind. This is the mind on planet Earth of God. We are God people God minds with who have separated. We have separated from the God mind because we wanted to hide in our own flesh. That was the fall. We wanted to separate. We wanted to eat the fruit of our own tree, where we decided what was good and evil without the input of others. We wanted to live in our own mind. And we fell into our own mind. And we exonerated and we judged ourselves free to think what we want because we disconnected from the love of God. We disconnected from what we thought was this, but in fact was really this. You see, and it's an important picture, but to distinguish and to understand the picture is paramount. It's not just to have the picture. You see, information that you are God does not make you free. The truth does not make you free. The truth gives you the opportunity. If you're willing to initiate, be assertive, stand up, begin to lead you. I'm in a school of leadership, leading me to learn leading, to learn leadership, leading me. I am in this process. It's fluid, you see. I'm learning the path of righteousness, not to a God figure, not to a unitary thing that's in itself that we imagined God as. My friend, we are all becoming one in the understanding of love, in how we love each other and how we operate and how we share the mind of one who knew no sin, who knew no separation before we all separated. Because we can surrender. Surrender to a force? No. Surrender to love. To love each other. My consciousness is, I am one of. I am one of you. That look like me? I look like you. No, I am the energy of the original before tongues ever wagged, before syllables were ever invented, discovered, implemented with drafts and constant iterations of mankind's mind to perfect it, to create robots that would be us, that would serve its mind and be the powers thereof. I'm sharing with you the power of light, the power of love, to be one in the midst of he who is holy no more. For she is the one, the divine feminine? Or am I talking about original love? Before there was a divine other to worship or to think about or to see as the master force of this universe. My friend, the universe is ours. And you are not restricted to Earth anymore because you're becoming alive again and creating the recreation of me, the us who never disconnected again. And that's who I am. And I'm waiting for you not. I'm going to all. The disciples not. I'm going to the lowliest of the lowliest of you. To recruit you not, but for you to feel my wrath, not but to feel my love and to know who you are. For your identity is chosen, not by you, not again, or are you choosing a new one? Will you choose the identity? Will you walk into the opportunity to no longer have faith to see other after you die, after having panned your life for gold? Or are you changing what you see matrimony as or breath as? Will you heal me? Will you be God no more looking for? Will you be God in your mirror? The loving one, the kind one, the one who loves your neighbor, loves their children. Cares for who you see, who you know. Cares for the decrepit, the aged, the elderly, those missing limbs, those who don't know who they are, those who have no mind left in them, the recognition of other. Will you love those people? Will you heal them? Will you care? Will you no longer bash the political use or unuse or whoever you think another party is? Will you no more be adversarial to each other nor adversarial to you? Or are you waking up? Are you changing how you do manners, how you do things? The manner of love will you be? The manner of kindness, respect, joyfulness? Will you see you as powerless no more? You are God on 2 feet, walking around with a head of Christ, no more Christian of, for all the Christian condemnation and influence of that mess and rigmarole will no more wrap its tentacles around me, for I am the consciousness of one. The consciousness that we are one who love each other. The consciousness of who create together in classes at first. Individually at first. Within the framework of a new love, the framework of a new life, the framework of being you, being me, being us, who will come together now, not tearing each other's wings off again. Learning to love, learning to see. We can do anything. We can be anything because we create the creators who are free. And freedom reigns in our paradise. And our nation is no more restricted to yours. I am Israel on high. Not again looking to the Mideast, or am I? Not up high at all on your drugs or your religion or your theories. Am I you? Who will believe not a lie? Are you willing to see your power in your mirror? Are you willing to see the animated force of Nadhara? Will you no longer selectively be looking for a mate that you can give all your love to when you have so much to give, so much to employ? Or will you no longer be looking to be employed by other, or want a selection process to limit you? Will you love each other? You see the idea of this is to see not the isolation in this picture, but seeing the interconnections of the mind of one. That no longer needs syllables to communicate, because you're no longer limited to the light of other or the love of other that dumbs us down, cripples our thought process, tells us who we are, tries to put us in our place to be under their authoritarian system. I free the girls from the boys. I free the women from the men. I free each other from each other. I am the consciousness of one who knew no sin. There's only one sin. There's only the separation. Of what? Separation of who you really are. You think you're someone else. You think you're a flesh person, probably. You think God made you, no matter what name you call God, a higher power, source, universe. You think you're an individual unit. You think you're appointed to die. You think you must die. You think there's something else to go to after you die. We've been fed a lot of bull. But we no more eat their cake patties of truth. We're no longer down at the altar receiving a wafer, a cookie, a chalice. Because we know who we are. And we begin to act no longer like children in the universe. We grow up. We're growing up. We're no more groaning in the flesh. We're learning to take the shell off. We're learning to come out of the seed. Don't you understand? Haven't you seen the pictures I've shown? Day after day, I speak. Where do I speak? In the temple of light. I speak to my temple of light like this, so that you hear with your ears, you see with your eyes, but you're no longer limited to your mind that computes it all, because you're no longer restricted to a basic compiler that came out 25 years ago, or a coding system of DNA. What genetics are you willing to see? Are your words willing to form you? Are you willing to form your words? Or will you no more be on track to extrapolate you with a trajectory futured by the past? We are changing this earth. Are you willing to no more be hammered on the anvil of other people's thoughts? Are you willing to come into the light of you and be my fair lady? No more selling flowers on a street corner for nickels or shekels or pounds. Or what are you seeing in the story? Are you willing to learn and not just be entertained by folly? Will you no longer just see a story of a street girl or entertaining songs and dance? Will you see how she changes her mouth, her mind, her words, her behavior, her manner, her thinking? Are you willing to become the regal under no one's thumb again? Under no man's laws? Are you willing to learn how to learn like this, where you learn from me to be me? The voice of, not the recognition of man for man's sake, but for hearing love. Will you become the consciousness of love, who births love? You see, at the moment, we're so ignorant. We haven't realized we were God, we are God. We were Satan, we are Satan. We are one. We are God, Satan. We are Jekyll and Hyde. We are who we want to be because we're always dividing and conquering us. That's a picture of you, a picture of me, a picture of our race, a picture of humanity. Not even knowing, flipping back and forth in personalities and temperaments and garbage mouth teachers teaching us what to teach, what to learn, what to know, how to operate, how to make money, how to influence others, how to rob the blind, make the poor poorer. I'm telling you, there's a process called learning from me to be me. The God covenant of one before God ever had a marriage to folly or fell in the oath or created a language of separation. 70 weeks is simply a metaphor for perfection. For you to become the perfect, for you to develop the perfect, for you to speak the perfect. No more looking for a mate. You realize the ideal, that which was something in your mind that you formed of perfection, the perfect mate, the perfect soulmate, the perfect, only exist in you as you, not someone else. This does not exist outside of you. It's you coming to realize you're no more the divided. You're no more Jekyll and Hyde with an inner conflict. You're Jekyll and Hyde no more with the inner tug of magnetics from soul to soul, because you're becoming light to light. Light. And who does light love? Everyone on earth and farther. And if you're not willing to love each other, if you're not willing to love all these people and people that don't even look like you, who have sentience of love, whether they seem to be sapient or not? Will you love flow to them because you have become it? You have become the body of love, the essence of love, the understanding of love. You've created a new consciousness with the mind that you thought was solidified in you as a human, but no longer restricted to it. This is the new birth. This is the new creation that loves coffee, flies among the heavens, does miracles, never has fear again, ever. Kneel not again before the ring of other, nor an altar of a god other. Have no God before you, none at all. You see, when you know who you are me that has a mind, a failure no more, if you have grown it. It takes time, effort, energy. You're supplying a God figure no more to you, the consciousness of. You're no more creating an ideal that you must marry, or you must have children, or you must have a job, you must have food, you must have this, that, or the other. Your body screams and your mind cries out because it wants to rule you. This temporal thing, this shell we are in, screams to be in manifest control. But I'm telling you, we stand at the gate not. The bars of iron, the gates of brass no longer hold us. The future is ours. Because now the future is not separate from the now. And now we begin to see the past is not separate from us either. Time doesn't work like we thought. Physics do not operate like we've been taught. Classical physics don't reign in us. Are we the quantum? Are we asking each other the questions that will free us? Are you willing to come out of religion and see religious stories like a little etch-a-sketch or a little square chalkboard that maybe you were given in the first grade or when you were 2 or 3 years old? You had chalk, right? You began to draw symbols. Somebody began to teach you words, how to spell, and what every word meant. And we all developed minds of separation. We begin to say, oh, that child is not like you. Don't play with them. They're bad, they're good, they're evil, they're rich, they're poor. Baby. See, we're coming out of the shell. I like this one. We're coming out of the shell of our thought. The world of thought. The world of thought that we think this world is so permanent of. The world that we have been accustomed to, that we have become accustomed to, the world that we have been taught is reality, isn't reality at all. It's a sub-reality. It's a created reality within reality. Have you watched The 13th Floor, the movie? Have you watched The Truman Show movie? Are you willing to assimilate the metaphor as a metaphor and see through it, see through what you're seeing to see there's a larger story in many of these movies, many books? Are you willing to live in a temple not made with hands? What does it look like? What kind of ethereal nature? What can you imagine? Or are you willing to imagine? Are you willing to be no more just facts and figures about? Will you exercise your creativity in creating me? Will you exercise your thought process that says, I am a God, not to you, not for you, but I am you. And you, I am, will be coming into a timelessness that no more generates the artificial intelligence that we called our mind. We thought we were real. We thought we were it. We were the highest on the food chain. We put a man on the moon. We do all these things. We create computers. Have computers created us? Are we the AI? Are we the robots of another generation? A future generation that made us here in the past? Or what are we programmed to be? An organic living vegetable no more? Or are you changing your world? You see, what are you coming out of? Will you no longer be sitting on a pew, listening to a sermon, listening to somebody you think is ordained? Are they just controlling you because they're ignorant and they teach what they've been taught and they don't know any better? Will you set you free? I'm about freedom. This is about being free. This is about freeing each other because you love each other. You love each other. Not because you're trying to recruit proselytes or proselyting the devil to be free and enter the cavalcade of something else. What will you see? What will you be? Will you create pictures like this in your mind? Moving pictures in your mind? Movies. Scenes of movies. Changing the background. Creating new characters that come in from stage left, stage right. See, we've been taught there was a master God. We've been taught whatever you were taught. Most of us have been taught, so many of us, that there's a higher power because we have felt powerless. We have been powerless. We haven't understood power. We've only exercised the crudest form of cruelty. We've manipulated reality for each other in our ignorance. But now, we are no longer listening to the man of mind, the mind of man that crowns it and says it is such and such. You see, I've shown you some of these pictures before, talked about them, explained different things. But my friend, I have the consciousness now that I am not powerless. I have the consciousness now that I am God. A woman, feminine, divine before God was. Before God became divine, I was, I am. What's that? You are too. We were one. We were one before molecules busted up or formed the way they did. We are before time going to again to reestablish us without it. So that we are not cast by the past nor the future again in a linear timeline like we thought. We're no longer needing a blackboard, big pens or pencils, trying to learn how to write. Because we are learning. There's another learning system. We're no longer dumbed down to have to learn line by line, precept by precept. We're no longer learning religion, religious laws, what constricts us, that tells us this is the world works this way. There was a God. God created the world in 7 days. You're not God. God created you. God created you. Man and woman separate. No, my friend. Hogwash. It's a theory. It's a story. It's a story that has incarcerated us for eons. And variations were manufactured, just like the code on your computer. What operating system do you operate with? Windows, Apple, Linux? What CPU computes that code? You see, I speak. I energize something. Space, I create energy as I speak. And the words, the energy, the waves of, have waveform amplitude. Using all this technology to come to you where you hear something in your ears that I encoded that rode this energy, that you hear and decode. It's all energy. It's an energetic system, the 13th floor of. Religion would have you believe this is your world and you're confined to it. But I know better. I know more. Because I learned to listen. I learned to write. And I talked about many times over these 21 years. And I wrote my covenant. My covenant. Is it more meaningful to say it's over 10,000 pages over these years that I've written? I have 1,000 videos on YouTube. I teach what I've been taught. I teach what I live, or do I live what I teach? Or am I not limited to what I live because I've been teaching me through me, the real me, the aura, the Holy Spirit, the essence of me? I came down the aisle and I married me. I'm not looking for you, your flesh of, to heal me or to hold my hand. I'm asking you to stand up and walk the aisle with me, to be me, who you are in the regal factory of no other. I'm asking you to be the original you before time began. The consciousness that doesn't create us in form that keeps us here. These are all thoughts that manufacture the witness of the result of syllables, encoded power that empower us to destroy each other. Keep us here. Use our energy. Use us up. But I'm looking for Morpheus. Will you be Morpheus? Will you find the Neos? Or will you be interconnected by a system of joy? Finding out who your love belongs to. Because everyone who chooses my love becomes it. You become my love. My lover? Of me and flesh not. Not even thinking in these terms of flesh. Grow up. See the regal you. Going down, walking the aisle of the planets, resurrecting. Are you willing to have your glorified body? A religious term? Are you willing to have a consciousness that no more restricts you, that creates your imagination? What is your imagination creating? What are you coding? What are you living as? What are you projecting throughout the day every time you see each other, you see another person? You instantly pigeonhole them into some kind of socioeconomic status, some kind of religious belief system. Oh, they're that. You feel inferior, or you feel superior. How often do we really feel equal? How often do we come up with someone that we know loves us? Not just in a physical way, but something else. There's some kind of kindness and respect. There's some kind of gentleness. And you kind of like to be around them. It's kind of good to see them. And you feel the same way. And you have an exchange. 10 seconds. 30 seconds. 10 minutes. But you love them. And you go about your day feeling good and glad you saw them. You gave them a hug. Oh, you even told them you love them. Because you care. Will you care about the women on the other side of the earth? The men too, the children. Those who are being bought and sold into slavery. Do you care? Or do you just care about your little church or your Bible? Is your life so little that you don't even want to understand your power? You don't want to know who you are? Or will you come into the consciousness, not of faith, but realize there are different stories at different times that have helped us get to where we are? But so many of the stories that help us get to the next step then put a lid on top of us to keep us right there. Someone comes into a revelation. They're exuberant. They're eloquent. Their eloquence attracts people. They're orators, silver tongue, golden mouths. I'll teach you how to make money. And we flock to them because they have power, they have charisma. And they sometimes become very effective at giving us their way to do life, their way to live, their path to riches, comfort, complacency. But I suggest to you, the love of maturity is a flow. It is a constant flow. It is a river. And it doesn't come from man's mouth. And the people who preach and teach what I am saying the consciousness of will never concretize you in one position to say, this is the law. There's no 10 commandments here. There's no 638 rules. We grow up. We are members of the cosmos. We are the minds of Satan no more that took it from us and robbed our joy by saying there was a mind, there was a Satan to be afraid of. So here's this thing, worship it. Here's an icon, here's a crucifix. Oh, he did everything for you. Grow up. There's so many ways, things, people, systems that help you maybe get to another step, another level of awareness, a greater understanding of revelation, who then cap you there to keep you under their control and listen to their messages, finance them. Want the energy of your eyes. I am not energized by the energy of your eyes that twinkle after me. I know what light is. I meant love. There is love that sets us free, not tries to marry us for our body, our wealth, or what we can do for them. We love our neighbor. Not just because of the color of their skin or what they make or who or where they came from. Love begins to beget love. And infinite love you are if you will be it, not creating separation from it. Free the lover that's in you to be you. Free the lover to love each other. Free your lover. Be the regal royal. Understand the consciousness of God. God before God was a divine deity. I'm talking about original love. Not the God that has been served for so many years. I'm talking about the creator of the original creator, of the original creation. Before the human condition existed. Us falling into our own creation of ourselves. I have the power to create me. I have the power also to decreate me. Not by death, but by life. Living the life, I birth me. I rebirth me. I'm coming into the new beginning again. That before time was. And all these theories and forces of your molecular thought will no more keep us here. I'm Superman, not I'm a simple guy in Eureka Springs named Theodore, who loved you, who loved me, who loved God, who wanted to know. I wanted to know God, not just about God. My heart called it God, but the heart of love heard me. The heart of love began to communicate with me 21 years ago. I called it God until months ago, just months ago, that I began. And I began to realize God is not God. There's more to the story. Even several years ago, I began to talk about this, but I didn't have the fullness, the completeness of the revelation. I'm not saying I have the completeness of it now, but I have more. And I share with you so freely for you to open up your mind, the heart of your mind, the temple not made with hands, the temple not made with anyone else's hands or words, the temple between your ears, your mind. For you to learn to see, feel, and be your own energy, not under the energy of anybody else, not under their touch, not under their thumb, not under religion, not under the forces even of nature. Because the natural world we live in is not the real. How do you think Jesus learned this? He was taught. He wasn't taught by another man or law. He learned from their scholars. He learned from the writings that were available. But he learned who he was. He reinterpreted what those laws and what those scriptures meant to him because he was willing to learn. And he learned. And you can learn. You have the power because you have the mind. And you're not connected to the disconnecting source anymore. You see, there's the source of light. There's light that poses as the source that wants you to worship it. But all it does is take your power from you. Keeps you in the third grade forever. Makes you wait on God, makes you a spectator, makes you powerless, makes you beggars, makes you subject to the world system when you don't have to be. You see, when you've had enough, you begin to look in the mirror and ask the hard questions and let love teach you directly, where you channel love. This is a school that I have begun, that I lead through the words of I am, to teach I am to be I am again, coming out of the shell of sorrow, so that you won't suffer the treatment of man, brutality, death, and destruction again. You actually become a new creation. This is my consciousness. We are begetting a new race, a race of light people, light lovers, lovers who are light energy, energy that is not subject to your waves. We are people, bodies, mind, essence, spirit, not subject to to the electrons, protons, and neutrons of your marriage to you and your nuclear forces, your strong force, your weak force. We are who we are. I am. I am is one. You remember the picture I started with, I close with for this moment. In your mind, we have seen some type of mastermind, masterful God, some kind of super force of the universe, that it created everything, that it created us. But my friend, we created us. And we are recreating us again, not to serve another God, but to be in light afflictionness, because we know that time no more constricts us, and space is no more far from us, because it's all right in here between our ears. This is all in the mind. Every bit of it. The true mind, the creator of the creator, the creator of all is I am. And it's infinite. And the infinite I am, revealing again for you to be it. For you to come into the joy of serving no one else, not serving your mind, not serving anyone else's mind, but coming into your palace of light to see who you really are and learn to be taught by the great within, not the great outside of you. Seems like everything outside of you wants to keep you here. Oh, live a long time, be on life support. Take whatever medicine, da-da-da-da-da. And we seem so sorrowful when people leave us. But we don't know where they're going, what they're doing. We don't know what their life would have been like. We're just sorry that they're not here to console us anymore. But the story is so much larger. Be not enamored with man's stories again, nor the efforts of religion to recruit you for their apostles, disciples, proselytes, pew sitters. I am coming not, I am here with my word. My word is me. My word, database one. I have over 20 databases. Database one is the foundation. There's a whole system of education spoken of, outlined, detailed. A whole system of education, the whole curriculum is in my covenant. The first 2,400 lessons that I spoke, that I wrote on yellow tablet, beginning in March of 2003. It's a whole system of education that replaces yours. You see, when you're willing to let God no more be an add-on, when you're willing to let love come to you center stage and teach you, where maybe you set your alarm for several years like I did at 2 a.m. to get up to meet love and let love speak to you. Speak with you, through you. Write the words, learn the words. Transcribe them, write them, type them, transcribe them, play them, learn from them, play them, link them. Link them? The subjects in this lesson connect to other lessons? Yes, hugely. There's an interconnected network, you see, of our minds and the mind. The mind of one is all interconnected. And the revelation is infinite. The revelation never stops. So anybody who tries to cap you and tell you, this is the truth, let them have no power over you. You don't need to defend. You don't need to prosecute. You don't even need to tell them what you think. And please don't waste your breath on the narcissistic and the gaslighters, those who have perfected religion to wield their control over you. I go now. Where am I going? Into the love of one. And how many are one? O-N-E? How many are one? Millions. Interconnectedly interconnected. Interconnecting. Creating true reality again, birthing ourselves out of this one. Communicating with light that doesn't require syllables. Because we're not subject to the molecular tangible. We have become who we really are. We married us. Our consciousness floods a nation. Nothing escapes our purview because nothing escapes our love. And love sees all. Love knows the motive of your heart, no matter who you have prayed to in the past, whether you called God Ralph or Betty Sue. It doesn't matter. Love hears the heart, not the blood pumping muscle, but the heart of the mind. The mind of the original you that is still part of you, that you have dissociated and called separate because we've been taught to. We've been taught to render our true self powerless and be under the power of the molecular. But I'm no more serving the molecular. I'm looking for love. And the way I look for love, I listen. I see who will write me, who will call me, who will love me, who will love the kids next door that annoy you, or that you've loved so dearly. You don't annoy so easily. You don't worry anymore about the future because you know the past does not control you. So your picture of the future is no longer controlled by the past because you're not on the same trajectory anymore. You're no longer extrapolating love to be filled with sorrow. You're creating a new you. And this is who we are and our power. And we understand to connect is our privilege. To learn from each other. And we teach each other. We create courses even. In this school, you teach. You can't escape teaching if you're willing to learn. You can't be reclusive anymore. You can't be complacent with the past. You can no longer be complicit with your present existence's control. You're being called out. You're being called to the front, the head of the table. The marriage feast, to marry you. The mind of the original you. The mind of the interconnected us. And we share with each other freely. No longer trying to elevate ourselves to be the richest among you or the prestigious elite. or seeking someone else's acceptance. We are no longer subject to the insatiable because we see we are the creators of the infinite. So we're not limited to the finite. And love flows now to every tribe and tongue. Beginning in America first? Well, I'm here. But I know there are you who listen in other lands. Is your land waiting on you? Will you open the door for others in your land? You on other continents? In other countries? Speaking funny languages no more, will you have one that speaks within your heart? One not limited to syllables, free in you to learn the learning system of me, to be taught by no other God, no God, but original love, who you still are. Pardon. I love you. I go now. My name is Theodore Cottingham. TheodoreCottingham.com. You can write me this day. Send me a letter. Ask a question. Questions I receive, I may answer. I may answer like this. In tomorrow's broadcast, where I say something obscure, something that seems out of place, very abstract, not related to anything, that's an answer to somebody else's question. Oh. Quantum? Not linear. Not restricted to time, space, or gravity. Be the real you. Love, the leadership of one who regalizes and begins to sew the dress of light on you for you to be it. The one. Walk down the aisle with faith no more, but pure love and light. Take your place in the universe, and time will no more make you a pauper. Be of the future, no longer constricted by the past. Create your joy and live love. Crown each other because you love us all. See you later. Good day. Thank you for listening, sharing your words, your comment, your love. Love each other. See ya. Good day.